Feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Touching on your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. I could look at you all day, watch the way them hips sway. Love your body, so I pray, don't you dare take it away. Can't control what I say, lost my mind cause your frame. Hey girl, what's your name? Lit me up just like a flame. Body in motion, I feel the commotion, beyond you like lotion. I'm honest and broken, I flow like the ocean. I feel you were chosen to fix me, I'm broken. My heart that you stolen, hey. Stay with me, play with me, lay with me. Hate to see when you leave, chemistry feels like it's destiny. I just want you laying next to me, and I really don't want you to ever leave. On your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Touching on your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. Let's break it down for a minute. I want the crown, I'm gon' get it. You hear me loud, man, I'm winning. Yeah, Charlie Sheen will be grinning. These ladies know that I'm sinning, and this is just the beginning. I'm closing in the ninth inning. There ain't no point in resisting. Living life like a dream, live it right, that's the thing. Every night got a team, I've been tied to the scene. Out on stage, here on screen. Okay, it's a dream, and I pray as a team. One day it'll be me. If I want it, then I get it. Head down, don't regret it. Push myself to the limit. If I play it, then I win it. I'm just saying, I'm just living for today. For a minute, I don't stay, I just visit. Have no shame, I admit it. Looking right at me to see if I succeed, to see if I believe. They're looking up to me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me. Swear to God, man, I'ma make it soon. Silence all the haters as they see us making moves. I do what I want, so I got nothing to prove. Staying motivated, teaching others what to do. I'm staying focused, my mind is open. They start to notice that I'm in motion. There is no potion, you're not just chosen. It takes devotion to stay composed, man. Never stop, there ain't no
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the NEXXTCAR podcast here in Season 3, Week 5. We're joined once again with Matt Tucker. He is our only guest tonight. What's going on, buddy?
Going on, man? I mean, it's just me and you tonight to carry the shipload for all of our NEXXTCAR and then NASCAR news tonight.
Absolutely. It's a good thing we don't exactly have too much to talk about, but let's just jump right in there. The racing has returned to North Wilkesboro. It was great to see NASCAR, an actual NASCAR sanctioned weekend, return to North Wilkesboro. And boy, did they put on a show all week long. You had the cars store earlier on in the week, and then NASCAR finished it off. What did you think about the return to North Wilkesboro?
I mean, you just got to give everybody props that put on the whole week. So, like, they could have just said, okay, we're just gonna do Friday, Saturday, Sunday with like all the NASCAR festivities, but they literally put up like a whole like speed week, like what you would see like at the Daytona, like to start off the the year. So they had all those late model races, and then I forget. I think they had some other kind of racing going on too, but it's kind of cool to see like all the other like NASCAR personalities like get on board too. Because I know Brad raced, Brad Keselowski raced I think something, and Harvick and Chastain all did too. So it was kind of cool to see them all like take part of the whole week and just not like go home and just wait for the NASCAR weekend. So but then the NASCAR festivities too. I mean, I think everybody hit it out of the park. So the truck race was great, and then all the stuff leading up to the All Star race too was also awesome. So if it they if it was at Texas like it was the last couple of years, we wouldn't be talking about like all the hype that was built around the All Star race. So this is the most hype that I can remember from All Star race perspective since probably that '09 when like Newman and Bush and Gordon wrecked, or when the Bushes wrecked each other. So, like, you haven't really talked about an All Star race like in a while. So, and it was kind of good to see from a NASCAR's point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned it. The hype was there. I mean, that was the first race in 27 years for NASCAR to be in North
Right.
Wilkesboro, and and I was glad to see all the happiness and all the thankfulness that those fans had towards not only Junior, but Marcus Smith, iRacing, because without those three groups of individuals getting together, we're not talking about this weekend. We're back at Texas, like you said, where not a whole lot of action. I mean, the biggest thing Texas produced was the drama last year
Right,
at the Blaney with the net and all that, so if it wasn't for those three getting together, getting that track cleaned up for iRacing to go in and skiing, we're not even talking about North Wilkesboro. It's like, I don't remember if it was Larry Mack or Mike Joy that said it in the broadcast, but they said 27 years ago when they walked out that back gate for the last time, he turned around, looked at the track, and said, "We will never be back." And
yeah, I think that was Mick Reynolds that said that. He said that on the broadcast. Because they couldn't even believe that they were going back. Because when Burton Smith literally, I forget, he bought, I think it was New Hampshire or something, some other track they bought, and they said they just let it like die to the ground. They did, and then they ended up reviving it. So, but like you said, you gotta give credit to Junior, Marcus Smith, and then iRacing because they went and they didn't even like plan on like rebuilding it. Like they were just trying to clean up the track just so they could scan it for iRacing.
Right, and maybe that was, as crazy as this is going to sound, maybe that's one of the good things that came out of COVID, because that is when that, I don't know what it was, 5 million or 15 million, I don't remember, that the governor signed to go into that project,
Yeah, because that was like December 2019 when they decided
right
to go
when
clean it
COVID
up. So it was like right before.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy to think about because they showed like the video of that on Junior's YouTube channel, like of them going up and cleaning it, and then like just trying to like get it so they can just scan the track because they talked about like how they had to like weed eat like all like the grass that was growing through the asphalt, and then because they said like if there was any certain like bumps or anything, like the scanner was just like not going to pick it up or was going to use it like as a bump through that turn. So like they had to go in and literally like mulched everything like away. So that's where it all started, and then to see the track the way like it looked brand new. Like when they did those aerial views this weekend, like you wouldn't even known that place was like barren like 2 years ago. So just crazy how things work out like that.
Oh, absolutely. And that'll lead us into our next topic. And that was just how well the track held up. I know we had talked about that in the last podcast last week because the cars were on that earlier on. And, you were mentioning about the potholes were forming. Well, they actually went in, they had to patch some stuff up. They actually talked about that on the broadcast, the patches of remade concrete. And that track held up magnificent. Like you said, it was, you couldn't have known, and it was great to see that, even with the track or the patches and it's sitting there for 27 years, just getting absolutely weathered on, that North Wilkesboro was still North Wilkesboro. It held up. Yeah. It did exactly what it used to do back in the day. They kept saying about how it would just tear the tires like sandpaper, and that's exactly what it was doing. It kept its same characteristics, which was awesome to see. And I mean, we saw that just in those heat races alone, just how important that track was on those tires. I mean, they could barely hold it, the first 40 laps in those heat races.
And then how about this too? The first Cup race ran on an oval right with the rain tires was North Wilkesboro. Like the first ever oval Cup race with rain was at
Yep.
North Wilkesboro. Think about that too.
Yeah,
So
history was made this week.
Yeah. So, but like the heat races too, like there wasn't really a whole lot of action. I was at work, so I only watched a little of it on like our TVs, but there wasn't really a whole lot going on, and I don't think you were expecting anything with those heat races. It was just trying to get those guys acclimated to the track and try to just get the cars around as like an extra like practice session, I guess. But like we said, like the surface held up, like, and it looked raceable. So I'm kind of interested to see if they repave it or like they talked about putting dirt on it. But I know Hamlin talked about in his podcast, but like they don't want to see dirt put down on. There's really no reason to.
No.
I mean, you just had literally the truck race put on a great show, and then even the Open put on a great show too. Just the Kyle Larson just stinked up the field in the main All Stars. But if it weren't for that, I mean, we'd be talking about probably one of the best short tracks right now on the NASCAR circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's going to lead us into our next topic, and that's the truck series. They, like you said, they put on one heck of a show besides, Larson. But in those closing laps, when they had that green-white checker and everything, it was a heck of a show. You had a lot of beating, you had a lot of banging, you had a lot of moving guys up out of the groove. Obviously, that made a couple people mad. I know, what's her name? Haley Deegan made herself a nice career-long rival this weekend.
Poor Dean Thompson, man.
Yeah,
he literally
he got the short end of the stick on that one. But
and I don't know if you saw his post-race interview, but
he kept saying his sponsor. Yeah.
Yeah. I felt bad for the dude. Like the dude's been wrecked out a lot this year, and he's got a good opportunity with Tricon. So I feel bad for him, man. He looks so upset. Like, and it was none of his doing. He just got wiped out. So.
Yep.
Wish 10 was here. That way we could be talking to him about Haley Deegan and how great she did this weekend.
Yeah, Peyton's fan picks aren't too good right now. Chastain wipes out the field. Haley Deegan takes that guy out. But, I mean, the truck series was fantastic. And they had a line that you weren't able to see the Cup drivers do, and that was run the apron in turns 1 and 2, I think it was just a little wider.
Started it.
Yeah, I mean, those trucks are just a little higher. They're able to get down on that apron a little more than the Cup cars were. And that was good to see because, a lot of guys weren't worried about that. And then you had to worry about that guy on the inside. So, and they were getting big runs off those corners using that. So, just a lot of different strategy going into the races. And then you go to the Cup Series, and no one's talking about that high line. The green flag waves in the first Open race. Well, here comes Michael McDowell in that third groove, passing people, but then just got back to the gas a little too soon and lost grip. But, man, he was starting to make that outside work until Ty Gibbs said, hello, I'm coming through.
I mean, that's the thing. He had to try something. Like, if you got to catch somebody off guard, might as well try it.
Yep.
So if it doesn't work, what's the worst that's going to happen? So, but yeah, I think nobody was expecting him to do that on the opening laps, and then he did it again after one of the cautions that they had. He was up there high widening it around the top. So, but yeah, like you said about, so you haven't really seen a lot of the Ty Gibbs aggression that you had in Xfinity last season, and that I feel like that just all came out this week. Because he knew he probably had the best car in the Open. So it was either him or Barry probably had the best cars. So, and it took out McDowell, took out my boy Justin. So that sucked. So thanks Ty Gibbs, but it what goes around comes around. So I don't think McDowell is gonna give him an inch or 2 feet now for a while. So if they're around each other, which they probably will be. They run anywhere between like 15th to 20th, 25th. So when they're around each other, it's gonna you're gonna see McDowell not giving any Ty Gibbs anything.
Oh, absolutely. And I loved McDowell's post race interview. You know, they were talking about it, and then he goes, "If I could afford the fine, I would not be standing here. I'd be down there with him." And I just absolutely loved it.
He might as well just wasn't going to beat him up because
Yeah.
literally Chastain threw a punch at Gregson
And got
didn't
nothing.
Get anything.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, he might as well just went down there and just swung at him. So it's not like Ty Gibbs was up to his height level, so it like he reached that high. So I mean, but I mean, he could have hit him in the belt though too, knocked him down. So, but anyway, like Ty Gibbs is he's just so unlikable sometimes. Just kind of harnessed everything that weekend or last weekend and just over aggressive. You see that a lot. I mean, we us in NEXXTCAR, like we have our over aggressive guys, and sometimes it pays off, and sometimes you're on the hook or you're in trouble with some other dudes. So that's what Gibbs is gonna have to have probably next week at Charlotte, and then where they go to Gateway after that too. So that's another smaller track where McDowell could get him back, and we saw Gateway last year produce a lot of drama too. So we'll see in the next couple of weeks if those two tangle up and get together again.
Yeah, you mentioned it. You know, this has been a very tame Ty Gibbs to what we've seen in his Xfinity days, especially last year when he won the championship. He was very aggressive in Xfinity. And then obviously, you know, he won the championship, and then just hours later, his dad passes away. He has to mature, and he did truly mature. You know, kind of like Chastain a little bit. You know, Chastain at the beginning of the season, you can argue maybe not the cleanest guy out there, but he made a huge improvement from last year to this year. But now Chastain's getting back into his old ways, and now this is just the first sight of it for Gibbs. But now you got to wonder, is he going to start getting back into his old ways? Is Chastain's aggressiveness going to lead to Gibbs being more aggressive?
I mean, I don't think they're going to tie into each other. I mean, Chastain's always going to be aggressive, so that's just in his nature. And then I think Ty Gibbs probably was, like you said, like because he got in a lot of instance with a lot of guys in Xfinity last year. So
especially in his own team.
Yeah,
I mean, he wrecked Brandon Jones.
Yep. Yeah, even for the win, and then celebrated. Like, you can't do that. Like, so I mean, him probably coming his first full time Cup season. Probably just wanted to like learn, which I mean he's done a great job too. So he's top 20 in the point. He's doing what he needs to do, get good finishes each week, and have good solid runs and not tear up the equipment. So I mean he's doing that, and then so he's getting the reps of what it takes to be a good Cup driver later on. So, but he's got all the backing. I mean his name's literally in the ownership group with his grandpa. So with Joe, so I mean, it's not like he's gonna have to like go out and win this year and then secure his ride next. So he's gonna be there for the long haul. So he's got such a big like leash that he can do whatever, basically run wherever he wants. So he's got that behind him. But I think what he's gonna need to do the rest probably this year is not be aggressive at times, but don't overstep it to where you're getting in trouble with guys like what you saw last week with McDowell. So, but he's got it. But it just takes time though. So with everybody, I mean, Kyle Busch did win his rookie year, but it doesn't happen overnight where you're gonna be a successful Cup driver. So, and which we've all seen that with numerous guys. So it'll take time for Ty Gibbs, and I think he'll be in the conversation in the next 3 to 5 years as probably a championship material. So he's just got a lot to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned it and absolutely nailed it. It doesn't happen overnight, especially in today's day and age of NASCAR. Back when, Kyle Busch made the transition from Xfinity to Cup, sure, the cars were a lot more similar back then. But now Xfinity is in no correlation to the next gen Cup cars.
Right.
So, yeah, you mentioned it there. But let's go ahead and talk more about Gibbs. Let's talk about Barry. Let's talk about Gragson, who all transferred out of the Open to the main event. Obviously, Barry winning, Gibbs getting second, then Gragson getting the fan favorite. I absolutely love Gragson. love that he got the fan vote, but you got to think, did that fight last week help him out a little bit? Or not last week, but a couple weeks ago with Chastain.
He's just always been a fan favorite.
Oh, 100%. He's got that likable personality.
I thought it was funny how he pulled a NASCAR Heat 5 move like at Phoenix where he hit that inside wall. Like, like if it weren't for him doing that, then he might have had a better car in the All-Star race.
Mm-hmm.
But it was kind of cool to see because I know that I think it was Jamie Little showed that they made like those pins, like it said "Vote for Noah."
Yep.
So and he's just got a marketable personality where he's just likable too. So good or bad, I mean, you're gonna know who he is just based off because he literally gets his hair cut like a freaking Amish man, gets freaking I don't know, gets into fights. I mean, and does all over social media. So so his brand
throws
is
up
huge.
after each win.
Yeah, so he hasn't done that a lot this year. Maybe after 30th place runs, but that's just the car. It's I think Jones gets better stuff than what he does, but that's another topic. But yeah, Josh Berry again, first Cup technically sanctioned win. I guess if we go back because it's not the stages anymore where you have the 3 stage winners. So technically the first sanctioned Cup win for Josh Berry. So I guess congrats to him for winning the Open. But Nelson and Ty Gibbs too transferring through. So there wasn't really a lot of parity like in those guys that it's kind of what we expected. So it wasn't like Harrison Burton or Corey LaJoie went out there and then won. So
McDowell tried to make it.
McDowell tried. He made it. He
cost Gibbs the win.
He did. So, but I think if he didn't want him in the All-Star race, he would have put him in the inside barrier.
Oh, 100%.
So I think, and then he's tried to swipe him again. He had 2 tries. So, gotta give him props. I mean, first you don't succeed, try again, right?
Yep, absolutely. But let's go ahead and let's move on to the Larson domination of the weekend. You know, we talked about a truck race earlier, and then he came out in a Cup race and did the exact same thing. You know, Larson is on an absolute roll right now. That team is on absolute fire.
Let me ask you a question, Ronnie. Do you think Larson's dominance this weekend should take away from the track or the car?
No.
From what happened, what he did?
No.
Okay. Because I've seen a lot of stuff where Larson, like, dominating with no action, like, took away from the, like, prestige of North Wilkesboro.
No. So I've seen a lot of that on, specifically a certain page on Facebook. Mm-hmm. I'm sure we all are friends with them on there, but Glenn Earnhardt. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that's exactly where you're going with this.
Yeah.
He's been very vocal about this. And I don't agree with a lot of the stuff he's been saying about it because, you know, we're taking a brand new car, but it's in its second year, going to a track that has not seen racing in 27 years. You're not going to be able to set up that car perfect for that track. It's not going to happen. So the racing, it's probably not going to be up to par as to what you would expect. But every person that was around back in 1996 that watched that race and watched all the ones prior said that was typical North Wilkesboro racing. That was the racing that they watched back then in the day. NASCAR fans are so, if there's not 13 crashes, it's a boring race.
So literally we had one of the best races with the next-gen car at Kansas 2 weeks ago, and everybody's talking about how great it is. Mm-hmm. And now we have one of the most probably old school wins in like when Kyle Larson like whipping everybody in the All-Star race and like, oh, this car sucks again. Like you can't please anybody any certain week.
No.
If it's good one week, then they're gonna talk about how great it is. If it's bad one week, it's terrible again.
And I mean that happens. I mean, you go back. My mom, she's got like old newspaper printouts. I don't know where she got them, but they're all laminated and stuff. Mm-hmm. But Petty won like 2 of his 500s. The entire field was a lap down in one of those races. It's like
people still watch.
He's not the first one to do this.
Right.
Every era, there's always one guy that comes in and has a dominating performance, you know, and I don't, like you said, they're hypocritical. And like you said, I don't know how we go from Kansas of this is the greatest package ever to now, oh, this car sucks.
Like,
No.
it's just the package, the way, because this car literally put on a mile and a half track, you're gonna get all that action, like
Mm-hmm.
all the passing that you want. So
Yep.
like literally, I remember Tony Stewart was talking about this. It was with the Brickyard back, I think, like 2012. How they said like how there wasn't enough passing going on, and he said, well, we can go pass on 465 all we want, but we're still racing.
Yeah.
So like they you just can't please anybody nowadays. So
No.
like if one thing goes wrong, automatically it has to be fixed.
Yep.
So it take it like we talked about with Ty Gibbs' maturity. It takes time. So it we're just gonna have to see when's the next short track race. What I guess is this? Are they using the
Gateway.
package at Gateway? Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It'll probably be a little bit better because it's kind of like 1 mile.
It was decent last year, if I remember.
Right.
The package was fantastic last year, if I remember. The
'Cause it
racing was
Logano
great.
Logano and Gibbs came
Yeah.
together, right? Yeah. So I mean, I guess we'll see if they put on a so-so race, like everybody's gonna be talking how bad it is again. So,
Mhm.
but literally, this is gonna come after the Coke 600, where it might be one of the best races. So literally,
Yep.
there's nothing where you can say to an average like a basic NASCAR fan where everything has to be good every single week, or if not, then it's terrible. So it's just so bad now.
And people got to remember, I mean, this is only the second year now with this car.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're obviously, yes, there's going to be improvements that need to be made. We've already seen where the improvements have been made so far this season. Is the car perfect? Absolutely not. Is the mile and a half package perfect? No, but it's pretty dang close, I would say, after Kansas. You know, so, and we've talked about the short track package needs revamped. We've said that on this podcast. So, you know, that's not something new. You know, it's not like the last 3 short track races at, you know, Richmond, Martinsville, and wherever have been fantastic. And then this weekend it sucked. All season, the short track package has needed to be worked on. So it's not like this is a shot in the dark and no one was expecting it.
The best technical short track race this year probably was the Bristol Dirt Race, even though it was on dirt.
Yeah.
So that's probably the best short track race.
Yeah,
But
I would say.
I mean, but that has totally different like setups too. So, but like if we talk about asphalt, I mean, I'm just scrolling through the schedule. I guess the short track package, probably the best race was Dover. From my thinking, probably was Dover, right? Because you had Chastain and Truex trading it back and forth. So I mean, I mean, I guess it hasn't really been perfect, but like it hasn't been terrible either, except for a couple other races. But I don't know. I just think that if they make a few changes with this car, and then I don't think they want to change it too far away from what they got for the mile halves either. So
I think their biggest thing they need to look into are those diffusers. I think those are going to be the biggest things that needs revamped for the short track package, because the cars are so low to the ground at the short tracks. You know, you watch it and it's just sparking, and you know, so I think that's the biggest thing that they're going to have to look into to revamp with their short track package. But who am I? I'm not a NASCAR engineer. So all we can do is just sit on a couch and just wait for NASCAR to post their new stuff.
We can be keyboard warriors on Sunday just like everybody else. So
and really irritate Mike Joy.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can we talk about the there was one certain point in the broadcast. I know we're getting like kind of off topic, but
no, you're good.
Did you hear when Boyer said he goes like, "Stay with me here for a minute," like on Blaney, like getting off, and then they cut away, and then did you hear Boyer throw a pin? Yeah.
Yep.
That just goes to show how NBC like controls like the NASCAR like broadcast, and poor Fox. It just made Boyer look bad.
If we could get NBC's production with Fox's broadcasters
minus Boyer.
See, I love Boyer, man.
I hate Boyer.
I think I think when I go back and I watch my truck booth broadcast, I think me and Boyer are like
Oh yeah, same
one and
dude.
the same.
Same dude. Just
Like
yells. I mean, excitement.
I
Like there's
love
nothing
Boyer.
wrong. I just feel like Boyer just doesn't put enough insight to like what like Dale Jr. does or like Jeff Burton.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think he's kind of like he's that good country boy where it's just
Mm.
like he's the one guy that you want to be around at the party.
Oh,
Like may not
100%.
be may not have like the smartest thing to say like most of the time, but by damn like he's fun to be around. So that's how
Oh, yeah.
that's his personality.
He's
So
guaranteed to make you laugh.
yeah, so and interrupt Mike Joy. So
well,
that's another good thing.
well, why not do that when you get interrupted by your cameraman?
That's true.
Yeah, I did
felt-
see that. That was funny.
Yeah, I mean, what else are they going to talk about? Kyle Larson just dominating. Like, oh, Larson again. Larson extending his lead.
Yeah,
Like I mean, they got to talk about something.
I don't remember what he was trying. I think the throttle control.
Yeah, because it was trying to show how Blaney wasn't full throttle, like back to the gas, like off the turns. Like
Mhm.
he was going like 3/4. Like if they got back to the full throttle, they were just going to spin out. So like they had to like control it like down the straightaway. And then, like, literally, like, when he was trying to talk about it, like, they go, Eric Jones, and, like...
It's like was right behind him.
It's like probably when Loki or my dog, literally, like, when you're trying to, like, get him to do something, they see a squirrel, like, oh, off track, like, let's go over there now, so...
Yeah, it was
So,
funny because, like you said, he's like, "Oh, stay with me, boys," and then it cuts away, and then you hear a pen get thrown.
Yeah, so that had to piss him off. It would have made me mad, too.
Oh,
Like, if you're trying to,
100%.
like, do something, so...
Because you
I
just
don't
mentioned
know.
it, he doesn't give a whole lot of insight. Well, there he
No,
is
and
trying to
when
get
when
that
he's
insight,
trying
and they
to-
take
yeah.
it from him.
Yeah,
So,
so... It's like, stick to what you do best, boy, or just
Make
yell,
people
so.
laugh. Yep.
So, I don't know. I mean, it just shows that Fox is like light years behind with their production staff and everybody else. So, it's kind of sad to see because like I
Mhm.
grew up on Fox. And also Boyer felt like the odd man out this weekend with the booth because you had Daryl, you had Larry Mack back, and then you had Boyer. So it just felt it just felt weird with those three that it like controlled like Fox, and you had Boyer in too. So when he tried to say something when Daryl Waltrip wasn't talking, then he gets taken away. So
Speaking of DW being back up in the booth, if he was in front
I
of
know
me
you're
this
gonna
weekend,
talk
I'd
about-
have slapped the hell out of him. How are
I
you
don't think
going to
that was
come
his
back for the
doing.
first year, for the first race in years since Bristol's All-Star race, and
And
you're
no, he
not
did
going
the
to say
Bristol-
boogity boogity?
he did the Bristol Dirt Race last year. Did he say
Was it that
Boogie
not-
Boogity?
Yeah, he did. He did then, yeah.
Did he? I don't know if he did it or not, but yeah, I don't know why they didn't let him say it.
I was expecting it. Like, I was like, Mike Joyce, stop talking. Like, so DW can get in there. And then all you hear is Mike Joyce say, and there's the green. I'm like,
I like how you
"Man."
texted. I like how you texted us and said, "Up, stop it, redo it." So you
Yeah, I
gotta
was
redo
like,
the race because
come
Mike
on.
Joy didn't say boogity boogity boogity.
Like, how can you not
So-
have DW say boogity boogity? For 17 years, that was his slogan.
I know.
That was his how you started the race. That's like in Formula One. If what's his name doesn't say, and it's lights out and away we go. That's their saying. That's how they start the race.
Mhm.
It's the same exact.
Or like how
thing.
Lee Diffie always says, "Let's go" to everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's just a trademark like saying. So I don't know.
But-
Like especially going back to North Wilkesboro too. Like if we're talking
Mhm.
about like all the throwback stuff, like why can't we throw back to a good boogity boogity boogity? So
Especially from
But-
DW, 11 wins there.
Yeah.
That's not nothing that to be afraid. He obviously
Also-
earned them.
also, did you hear Chris Myers when he introduced? It was Michael Waltrip, Petty, and Daryl Waltrip.
Yeah, couple
Yeah,
legends, and there's
Couple
Mikey.
legends. There's Mikey. There's Michael Waltrip. So I thought
They
that was
do-
hilarious.
They do Mikey so dirty sometimes. Even the drivers during his grid walk.
Yeah.
Like Chase Elliott. I'll be honest, Chase Elliott, for the first time, I think, in his career, made me chuckle because DW was interviewing him, and he goes, "Yeah, I think the last time," or not DW, Mikey was interviewing him,
Michael.
and he said, "The last time you were here interviewing me, Mike, yeah, I broke my leg, so why don't you just leave me?"
Yeah, he goes, just leave me alone. So
It's like,
he goes,
you
I
know
don't
what,
want to do
that's
that
pretty
again.
funny. But
I mean, that's another thing too. Chase Elliott literally has no personality,
No.
and then like literally he does. He's got that dry humor. So
Mhm.
I mean, it was hilarious too. So yeah.
Yep. But we hit on it a little bit, and I know Marcus Smith brought it up today. The future of North Wilkesboro and its races. Do you think NASCAR? Obviously, they got to keep going to North Wilkesboro.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that turnout that happened this weekend. They were sold out.
Even the truck race.
The truck race was the busiest they've had in 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, so here's my question for you. Do they keep it an all-star race? Or do they move it to a points race? And then maybe if they do that, because they're working on Rockingham right now too, are they going to get Rockingham sped up to where maybe that can be the all-star next year?
I would like to see that.
That would be beautiful.
I've seen multiple guys say this. Like, what if like we take the All-Star race and like put it at different like short tracks, like throughout like it doesn't have to be like an actual like big name mile and a half each and every year, or at Charlotte for who knows how long. Like, make this a kind of like how we did with like we talked about with the throwback race at Darlington. Like, make it a every year tradition to like go to a different racetrack, like for the All-Star race. So I could see them going to Rockingham. I'd like that. As for North Wilkesboro goes, I would love to see it on the Cup schedule, but in order to add a track, you have to subtract one. So I don't know what they would subtract with SMI, because SMI would have to subtract one of their races. So I don't know what they would do.
Chicago Street Course.
Do they own that though?
No.
Or is NASCAR?
No, NASCAR owns it.
So it wouldn't be that. So maybe.
Well, I mean, can we really see them going back to this?
I mean, we haven't even seen the race yet. So it might be one of the best races of the year, and we're already giving it crap. I mean, I'd like to see it before I can judge it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I don't think it'll go well. But I mean, we haven't even ran on it yet. So, but if there's any track that I could see North Wilkesboro replacing, I mean, do we really need to go to New Hampshire every year? The one track that's kind of out of the way, like just randomly.
How many times do they go there a year?
Just once now. It was twice.
That's right, because they used to start off the playoffs, or like the chase.
Because it was there they ran twice. Pocono they ran twice. Dover. Michigan they ran twice. Dover they ran twice. Pocono was literally like 2 times in 2 months. So
yeah, and then they made it the back-to-back.
Yeah, because then they did the double headers.
Yeah.
So I could see them replacing New Hampshire, because there's really nothing lights the world. But I would feel bad for all those fans up there that like go to that race each year. But I would rather have it at North Wilkesboro than New Hampshire. Plus, it might make a better economical reasoning too to go closer home.
But sometimes, I mean, New Hampshire's provided some amazing racing. I mean, you had Harvick and Hamlin a couple years ago beating and banging it out in the closing laps. You had, who else was it? I don't remember, a couple years ago.
Austin Dillon got into it in Xfinity race, if that's what you're thinking about.
No. I wanted to say it was Hamlin winning another one.
Hamlin won that Xfinity race. He beat and banged with Austin Dillon, right?
Maybe that's what it was.
And Austin Dillon said he was going to get him back the next day.
Yeah, that's what it was. So, I mean, it provides its good racing every once in a while. Not very often, though. So, yeah, I don't know. I've never been a huge fan of New Hampshire, but that's me. I'm not a fan of flat tracks. To me, they have no character, But I don't know. New Hampshire's another one of those tracks that has a long history with NASCAR. Right.
I mean, so is North Wilkesboro too. I mean, who's to say that like New Hampshire's the next North Wilkesboro gets like pushed away for 27 years and then bring it back like as like a huge event. So I don't know. I mean, that's the downside in this. Like if you add something, you got to like take something away. That's good too. So there's only limited spots available for a.
Well, they own Texas, right? SMI?
Yeah, but the only date now for Texas is the playoff race.
Do they not do 2 races there anymore for Cup?
No, because it was the All-Star race. Because remember but then they said that I think it was the SMI leased Coda, and then that was like their second Texas race.
Gotcha.
So I think that was how they had 2 Texas races this year, is because they had one at Coda and one at.
Then get rid of Coda. The Cup cars don't belong at Coda, in my opinion.
Yeah, I liked the Coda race this year. I thought it was okay.
See, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of that.
I like technical road courses compared to the high speed road courses. But I think it shows like your actual craft, like because like Sonoma, like SMI owns Sonoma too. Would you want Sonoma to get off the schedule?
No, I love Sonoma. Now that they got rid of that stupid carousel, now that they're back to the actual old configuration, I love Sonoma. But I hated the boot or whatever they called it, the carousel.
The carousel, instead of like going to like the turn 5 corner.
Yeah,
that's what we ran. We ran that last night. We ran the actual like cup like layout instead of doing the boot.
So, I would hope so, because
Nick last night.
That carousel's stupid.
Yeah, so I mean it. I and then running on the track last night, like on our NEXXTCAR race, there's like no chances where you like get back full throttle. Like you're always turning, it seems like, except for maybe like out of the last turn, like down the straightaway to get to turn 1, turn 2. So you're really just like brake throttle, like throughout the whole course. Even on the back and through the S's too. You got to run it, dude. It's very challenging.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's race. I hope I'm back in Ohio for it. I love Circuit Gilles Villanueva. I love that track.
Now, is that in Mexico or is that in Canada?
No, it's in Canada, Montreal.
Okay.
It's the Formula One Canadian Grand Prix race.
Well, who knows? You might be the only guy that shows up and then you win the race by default. So
I hope not, because I actually want to. I feel like I might be able to keep up with Peyton at this one, because I got a lot of practice on this track on Formula 122.
Peyton was having a good race going last night until he decided to hit the wall a couple of times. so I felt bad. Him and Cat hit the wall, then Austin.
Wow, had a good Cat hitting the wall, shocker. He led me into the wall last week in Vegas.
Yeah, Cat had a good race going, and Austin had a good race going too. He won the pole, and then I know we're talking about NEXXTCAR now a little bit, but yeah, it was an okay race last night.
Yeah. Well, let's just continue about NEXXTCAR. So you got some.
We'll go back to Xfinity. Did you run the Xfinity race?
Yeah, I ran it at Vegas. Yeah. It was good. Norman, just another absolute class of the field. It was great. The first 15 laps for me were great until I followed a blind kitty cat named Andrew Bolander into the outside wall out of turn 2, and then my race was done.
Now, whose fault's that? Now, is that Cat's fault or is that your fault that you followed him?
You want my biased or unbiased opinion?
Yeah, let's hear both.
Unbiased, it's my fault. Biased opinion, it's Cat's. He was in front of me and I followed him.
When in doubt, blame Andrew. So.
If you watch the replay, we literally hit the wall at the same exact spot, the same exact way. He hits it, I hit it, both of our rear ends kick out to the left, and then we slam back into the wall. It was so synchronized. You couldn't have planned it any better than it happened. But yeah, I was doing great. I was in the top 5 for the whole 15 laps. It was fantastic. Looked like I was going to have a good race.
Didn't that become a fuel? Because from what you guys said, it became a fuel strategy race, like with no.
It became a tire race.
Tire, okay.
It became a tire race, and just that's the biggest thing I got to get figured out in iRacing is my strategies, man.
It's your tire saving. I feel like that's for everybody.
Yeah.
In like our league is how to manage. Whoever manages the tires the best is going to end up 9 times out of 10 winning. So it's not just full speed out. Because I remember, I think it was Heat when I think it was at Dover when Toby like just holy crap! Just when we're talking about him, when Cat joins.
Oh yeah. Blind kitty cat named Andrew Bolander.
Yeah. We
likes to lead people into the wall.
Talking about Cat Ronnie said that his unbiased opinion, it was his fault. His biased opinion, it was your fault that he hit the wall. What do you have to say about that?
I don't know, nothing. I was just
Yeah.
pushing too hard, and I barely touched the wall. And I looked behind me. I'm like, oh crap, he hit the wall too. Then on my screen, Austin hit the wall in front of me. So I'm like, we all four just hit the wall.
You guys just all tagged it at the right time.
Yeah, right time in the same spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just killed your car, but nobody else's.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was a good race. Like, it just came down to tire saving. Like you mentioned, obviously whoever, comes out on the right side of things with that is 9 times out of 10 your winner. And well, definitely the best one to do it is in the league is Norman. So,
And he's the one that's got the most experience too.
Oh,
If we go back and
100%.
look this, he's been around for like almost 10 years, and we're all new to this. So, I mean, he's gonna have one up on us because he's ran all this stuff more than what we have. So he's got the experience in what we do in some certain areas. But so and not that's not taken away from him because he's probably he's the best guy. He's the best guy in here. So I mean that's hands down. But I don't know. But Nick can run with him a time or two. But yeah,
I like racing with Norman, but I'm looking forward to on Monday nights not having to look on that relative and see his name lapping me. I'm looking forward to not having to race with him, to be honest, in a selfish way.
Kind of like last night where we didn't have Norman to deal with either too. So, but yeah, he's still good. So I mean, he's the top guy and everything else. So you gotta give him credit where credit's due too.
Oh, 100%. And then Matt, you got some things to announce for this week?
Oh yeah, driver of the week. So even though he doing the whatchamacallit, the broadcast right now on Sunday nights, we'll give it to Nick Trudeau, driver of the week. Got a 3rd place finish after rebounding from a lap 1 incident at Xfinity at Las Vegas. So he got a nice 3rd place finish there, and then last night at Sonoma he ended up P2. So 2 races for Nick Trudeau the last week and gets an average 2.5 average finish. So give it to Nick. Done a lot for get the league started. And he's been around since the beginning with him being the owner too. So gonna give it to Nick Trudeau for the driver of the week for this week for the NEXXTCAR Racing League.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Kat, you got snubbed.
It was a road course. I don't give a crap.
Absolutely. All right. We got the Coke 600 coming up this weekend, Memorial Day weekend. Andrew, you're just joining us for the night. What's your thoughts on this upcoming weekend?
The whole weekend in general, I love it because I can never wake up to watch Monaco for one. And then Indy 500's midday, so you have that to watch during the day, and then wrap it off with the 600 at night. So the TV's gonna be going pretty much all day that day.
Absolutely. You mentioned it. I hope my parents are ready for it. It's going to be a 4-day racing on Sunday. You mentioned it, Monaco, then Indy 500, and then, obviously NASCAR later on that night. So it's a 4-day race, and it is the greatest day in motorsports.
Yeah, are you going to be at home, or are you going to be in Kentucky? Because they didn't lift the ban for the TV around East Central Indiana because it's not sold out.
Kentucky.
Okay. Ronnie, did you know about that? How if you live I think it's 60-mile radius of Indianapolis Motor Speedway, they black out the race on NBC
to try to force you to go to it.
It force you to go to it, yeah. Yeah, it's the Indy 500.
That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard.
Yeah, so like I can't watch it and like if I was actually like not going. So like it would do the rerun at like 10 o'clock that night when you can finally be able to watch it. Like you can't watch it live.
What?
Yeah.
When I was younger, I would go to the 500, and then when I get home, I would watch it on the 600, and then go back and rewatch the 500.
500. Yep. because literally it's like right after the 600's over, you can watch the 500. That's just around Indianapolis though. So everywhere else you can watch it, but they didn't lift after the podcast is over. Look up the Indy 500 like blackout. So
That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard.
yeah, that's the thing. Like literally, there's still 250,000 people there. Like I don't understand. So the only time that they lifted it was when it actually sold out for the 100th running. So that was when they actually had a sellout, like when there's no other seats available. That's when they finally lifted it. So it's dumb.
Good God.
So
But
So
what are you
I'm-
looking forward to this weekend, Matt? I know earlier you said you were going to the 500.
yeah, I'll be there on Sunday. So I don't know where we're sitting yet, but should be good. I mean, there's a lot of good storylines around the 500 this year with I guess Helio going for a career best fifth 500 win, and then you had also the Graham Rahal news that came out today with him actually getting the ride from the 24 car for Stephen Wilson, him being injured too. So, and then the bump day with Jack Harvey getting into bumping his teammate. So that kind of like got overblown now. So, but yeah, so there's a lot of good stuff going around. I know everybody's saying like how this might be the best 500 ever, like the most competitive with all the cars. Like there's like no one dominant car like throughout the month of May too. So I could see it being an action-packed race. So I hope it is. So I've been to the 500 one time. That was 2019 when Pagano won. So that was fun too. So looking forward to it. So, but I really want to get back that night to watch the 600 because I think that's going to be probably just as exciting based off of what happened last year too with all the action that was going on there.
Busher flipping.
Busher flipping, Austin Dillon coming out of nowhere getting wrecked, Briscoe spinning out in second. That's just it. There was a lot that happened last year.
Yep. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it for sure. Especially, obviously 600 and just everything NASCAR does for, the ones who
Are they
paid
doing the military
sacrifice
banners
and-
again?
Yeah.
Or the fallen member?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if they were doing that or not.
It's a every year tradition there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Gotcha.
They're all, they obviously doing taps and all that, the 21 gun salute, and then they're stopping the cars at the halfway point for the moment of silence. And, it's definitely, it's like we were talking about. I don't remember what podcast episode it was, but Peyton brought up about, them taking that race away from Charlotte. And it's like, there's no way they could do that. Charlotte does such a great
For
job.
Memorial Day?
Yeah.
Where would
I
it
forget
go?
what we were talking about. We were talking about like how Daytona lost its 4th of July race, and that I don't remember what exactly the topic was, but it was
The
like
reason why the Coke 600 is because literally they made it 600 miles to make it 100
Right.
miles more than the 500.
Mm-hmm.
So that was it Humpy Wheeler that decided to do that? I
He's
think
a
it
track
was, right?
owner at the time, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, literally, like it's got to stay there.
Mhm.
So it's NASCAR's home track.
Yep.
So Peyton was here, I'd be chewing him out.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, it's a pretty rough weekend for me, but I'm
Yeah.
definitely looking forward to the racing for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that's about all we got for the NEXXTCAR news and this upcoming weekend. I don't think there's any other big headlines this weekend out of NASCAR. Just waiting for a lot of teams and drivers to release their tribute videos
Yeah.
for the
So I
families
think-
they're going to be honoring and stuff.
Yep. So it's best day in motorsports. So I think it's be one to watch. So all right, want to do our picks? Peyton sent me his.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do our picks.
All right. Well, let me pull up Peyton's real quick. So since Peyton's not here because he's got other stuff going on,
Or so he says.
Peyton's well, who do you guys think Peyton's lock is? Just say it on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Chastain.
Chastain. Yep, Peyton went with Ross Chastain as lock, and his
Shocker.
sweeper is the other Trackhouse entry of Daniel Suarez. So he is being a homer this weekend with Ross as his lock and Suarez in his sweeper. And then he also gave a little insight to his picks too. So,
Of course he did.
quote from Peyton Tulloch: Ross has got to win at some point or another. With the speed he's shown consistently this year, and Trackhouse was dominant in the 2022 Coke 600. Suarez has some momentum entering the 600, so look for both Trackhouse cars to be competing for the win again this season. So, there's the insight from the great Tennessee Titan.
Oh, God. All right, Andrew, what are your picks?
For the lock, you can't go against it. I mean, he's won in all 3 series the last like 9 days. He's won a dirt race too. He just won North Wilkesboro, so you gotta pick Kyle Larson.
Mm-hmm.
And then my sleeper, I talked about him earlier. He went flipping in the infield last year. I'm gonna go Chris Glisher.
Pretty solid picks. Especially that RFK pick, man. They have been stepping it up pretty good, too. I mean, you'd have thought both of them would have started in the top 5 there if it wasn't for Brad's crew with their lug nut. Matt, what you got?
So, lock, this guy ran pretty good there last year, I believe, and I think he got involved that one late accident. And he's dominated this race before. It was 2016 where he led almost like, what was it, 95% of the freaking race, where he just talked about old school ass whooping. So it's his track. He's won that before, so I'm gonna go with Truex as my lock. He's been on a pretty decent hot streak throughout the last couple of weeks after he won Dover. So I'll go with Truex. And then my sleeper, this guy, it's his house. It was literally named after his sponsor. I would love for him. This is like his first like true track that he's raced at this season, and I will go with Jimmy Johnson as my sleeper this week. He is running the 84, and last time he ran at Charlotte, I think before he got DQ'd, he got second. So I think it was that year when 2020 when Brad won. So I think he ended up getting second there. So kind of excited to see how he does this week. So I'm gonna go with Jimmy Johnson as my sleeper pick.
It's pretty interesting.
Kind of weird to say a 7-time champion is a sleeper, right?
You know, I kind of like Peyton's philosophy. The guy's got to win at some damn point.
Yeah, just
Right.
all the points.
Just take your boy.
I'm going to go with the other guy that's got to win. It's been over a year and a half. He's got to win, right? Ryan Blaney. And then, you know, we got to stick with tradition. Every time I pick Blaney, we got to pick the other lock. He does great in Atlanta. He's had a really good start to this season. Corey LaJoie, come back on board, buddy. He's my sleeper pick.
And the Ronnie Noggle podcast picks of the week have officially hit the Titanic. So.
Oh God. So there's my picks.
Now I say that Blaney's gonna romp the field and LaJoie's gonna get a top 15. So that's what's gonna end up happening.
Top 15. So. That boy's coming in for a top 5.
Making guarantees on the NEXXTCAR Weekly podcast, huh?
Yep, he's coming in for that top 5.
Oh man.
All right, fellas. Y'all got anything else to add to tonight's podcast here?
Gotta give Cat some props though, because he literally pulled a Peyton 2.0 and
yeah, he did.
Like he said, 30 minutes late. So hey, better late than never though. So
absolutely.
Except for last night.
What do you mean last night?
I was late to the practice race. Well, Sonoma.
Oh yeah.
I wish I didn't do it.
Hey, it wasn't that bad of a race.
It was pretty bad.
I mean,
when Matt wins by over a minute, it's got to have been pretty bad.
Hey, we had one caution throughout that race though, too. Sheep spun out in front of Cat and threw a yellow flag, literally like on lap 2. So it was interesting, so say the least.
Good God. But fellas, y'all got anything else tonight?
Nope.
I think we're good.
All right. Well, that is going to do it here for season 3, podcast 5. So the next time we do this podcast, well, I'll officially be doing the truck broadcast and back in the Cup Series. And next week when we do the podcast, it won't be here in Delaware. I'll be back home in Ohio spending 2 weeks with the family. So that'll be a good time. Haven't been back home in over a year. So definitely going to be a great time going back to Ohio and seeing some of the family. But that is going to do it here for this one, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I will catch you guys next week when we get to do it all over again. Enjoy the rest of your night.